Adam, skin color, and the truth about human origins. Was the first human black, white, or something else entirely? It is a question that appears simple on the surface. But beneath it lies science, history, belief, and identity, a question that has traveled across centuries, across cultures, across civilizations, and yet the answer is not as absolute as many expect. To understand it, we have to slow down and look deeper. This is not about choosing sides. It is about understanding origins, human origins, as far as we can trace them, through science and through tradition. 1. Scientific origins of humanity. From the perspective of modern science, all human beings belong to one species, Homo sapiens, and the evidence from genetics, archaeology, and anthropology points to one central origin. Humanity began in Africa, approximately 200,000 to 300,000 years ago. So the next question becomes unavoidable. What did the earliest humans look like? The scientific consensus suggests something important. They were most likely dark-skinned, not as a symbol, not as an identity, but as biology. Human skin color is determined largely by melanin. Melanin is not just pigment, it is protection. It shields the body from ultraviolet radiation, it helps prevent DNA damage, and it supports biological survival in intense sunlight. Near the equator, where sunlight is strongest, higher melanin levels are an advantage, and early humans lived exactly in such environments. So over time, natural selection favored darker pigmentation. This is not hierarchy, this is adaptation. Not better, not worse, just survival. Human migration and skin color diversity. But humanity did not remain in one place. Over thousands of years, human populations migrated outward from Africa to Europe, to Asia, and eventually across the entire world. In these new environments, something changed. Sunlight became less intense, and in those conditions, the body faced a different challenge: vitamin D production, pause, emphasis. So, over long periods of time, human skin adapted again. Less melanin became advantageous in low sunlight regions, and gradually, lighter skin tones emerged in some populations. This was not immediate, it was not linear, it was not uniform. It took tens of thousands of years. And importantly, it was never about superiority, only environment, only adaptation, only survival. Genetic unity of humanity. Despite visible differences, human beings are extraordinarily similar. More than 99.9% of our DNA is shared. That means the differences we often focus on are biologically very small. And there is something even more profound. The greatest genetic diversity in the world today is found in African populations. This points to a deeper timeline, a longer presence, a shared origin. Adam in science and tradition. Science does not identify a single first human individual. Instead, it studies populations, generations, lineages. There are concepts such as Y-chromosomal Adam and mitochondrial Eve. But these are not the first humans. They are the most recent common ancestors in genetic lines. In contrast, many religious and cultural traditions describe a first human, often called Adam. These narratives are not designed as scientific models. They are frameworks of meaning. They explore questions like, why are we here? What is human purpose? What is moral responsibility? Early traditional interpretations. In many traditions, Adam is described as being formed from earth or clay. Symbolically, this connects humanity to the natural world. The focus is not on physical color, but on shared origin. Some early interpretations suggest humanity reflects the diversity of the earth itself, different shades, different forms, different expressions of life, but these remain interpretations, not universally agreed scientific descriptions. The consistent theme is something else entirely: unity. 6. Human diversity and value. Across many traditions and philosophies, a shared principle appears repeatedly. Human. Differences are natural, but they are not indicators of superiority. Value is not defined by appearance, but by actions, by ethics, by justice, by character. In this sense, diversity is not division, it is variation within one human story. Bridging science and belief. When science and tradition are placed side by side, a few points converge. Humanity shares a common origin. Early, humans were likely dark-skinned due to African environments. Skin color evolved, gradually through migration, and human diversity expanded over time. Different languages, different cultures, different appearances, but one biological family. The core question. So we return to the question, was the first human black, white, or something else? From science, early humans were most likely dark-skinned, shaped by African sunlight and biology. From tradition, the exact appearance is not the central concern and often not clearly defined because the deeper focus is not appearance, it is origin and meaning. Skin color is one of the most visible human traits, but biologically, it is not one of the most important. It does not define intelligence. It does not define value. It does not define humanity. Both science and tradition, in different ways, point toward a shared truth. We began from one origin. We diversified over time, but we remain fundamentally connected. So perhaps the real question is not what color was the first human, but instead, how do we recognize and treat the human family today?